Good morning again. We welcome John McCain to his 65th appearance on Face the Nation. Senator McCain, you have now appeared on Face the Nation more than any other person. Over the last year, you passed the previous record holder, who was Bob Dole.
Well, it's an honor to follow in the footsteps of a great American.
Let's talk about Governor Palin.
Good.
There's no question she lit up that convention, but there's also a number of people, some of your supporters, who are a little bit worried about it. She is not ready. How do you answer?
This is the most popular governor in America. She has a clear record of doing what Americans want first and uppermost: reform. Reform. She's not only talked about it, but she's done it, and she took on the people in her own party. She took on a sitting governor of her own party, and she reformed, and they passed ethics and lobbying reform, and she gave money back to the taxpayers, and they cut spending. They did the things the Americans wanted. She did the things that Americans want most. What we want is the change in Washington. Who better in the political landscape could do that than Governor Sarah Palin, whose whole life has been engaged in that, taking them on and winning.
Let's turn to the choice of Sarah Palin. But aren't you vastly exaggerating her record as a reformer? Take a look. As mayor of Wasilla, she hired a Washington lobbyist and got $27 million in earmarks. And in her less than 2 years as governor, Alaska has asked for $589 million in pork barrel projects. Her record as a reformer, particularly on the issue of earmarks, is far from clean.
Well, let's be clear about this. When she was mayor of Wasilla, there were already people in place who were getting those grants from the federal government, and small towns do a lot of that kind of activity because mayors,
a Washington lobbyist who was close to
Washington who was already involved in that.
She hired. But
let me also point out these pork barrel projects. I don't disagree with the fact that there were pork barrel projects coming to Alaska, but not from her. Within the state legislature, she beat back those efforts.
Wait a minute. First of all,
she's not a federal.
As governor, Alaska, during her 1.5 to 2 years as governor, Alaska continued to get more federal money for pork barrel projects per capita than any state in the country.
This
works better if I get to ask the question. And she supported the bridge to nowhere, and it was only after the federal government dropped it out and killed it, the Congress killed it, that she then opposed it. And in fact, she still got the money for the approach, the ramp to the bridge to nowhere.
Congress didn't beat back the bridge to nowhere.
I know, but she accepted the money.
That funding was in the grant, and she said, I'm not spending that money. And what they did, they took a $500 million bridge and she turned it into a $2 million ferry. And that's what she did on her own without any help from anybody else.
Well, actually, it was Congress that killed the money for the bridge to nowhere. But let me move on to something else.
You said that your #1 criteria for a vice presidential pick was someone who's capable of being president.
Right.
Did John McCain meet that threshold test?
Well, you know, I'll let you ask John McCain when he's on ABC,
but I want to know what you think.
Or Governor Palin if she ends up accepting an invitation to your show. Here's what I'll say. I think she's a skilled politician. It tells me that he chose somebody who may be even more aligned with George Bush or Dick Cheney or the politics we've seen over the last 8 years than John McCain himself is. I mean, supposedly he was thinking about taking Joe Lieberman, decided not to because the right wing of the Republican Party would have had a riot. The most important thing from my perspective is what are the policies that John McCain and his vice president intend to pursue? And what I didn't hear from Governor Palin, what I didn't hear from John McCain, what I didn't hear at all during this convention is how are they going to put people back to work? How are they going to deal with health care? How are they going to make college more affordable? How are they going to keep people in their homes?
Look, she had a great speech. But what was her silence on the issues was deafening. She didn't mention a word about health care, a word about the environment, a word about the middle class. They never parted her lips. I mean, so I don't know where she is on those things.
Senator McCain said that she actually has more national security experience than you.
Alaska's right next to Russia. She understands that. He has no experience on these issues.
You know, I actually knew that Russia was next to Alaska as well. I saw it on a map.
It's not a qualification?
I don't think it is. I know that John McCain was offended, or at least his campaign was, when she was asked or one of his representatives was asked, what decisions did she make while she was heading up the National Guard? And they didn't have a response. I'm going to be happy to have a substantive debate with John McCain about foreign policy. This whole resume contest that's been going back and forth is not what the American people are looking for.
Already people are saying no one has a tougher job in debates than Joe Biden. He has to go up against this woman, and she has been teed up in many ways by the Republican Party as someone that you just can't go after in conventional terms. Make it tougher debating her than it would, say, Mitt Romney or Tom Ridge of Pennsylvania?
Well, in the sense I know Mitt Romney and know his positions, and I know Tom Ridge, and I really respect them. But, I've debated an awful lot of tough, smart women. A woman who's a judge here in our Superior Court was one of my toughest opponents ever for the Senate. And there's a lot of very tough, smart women in the United States Senate I debate every day. So in that sense, it's not new. But what is new is I have no idea what her policies are. I assume they're the same as John's. I just don't know.
Does that give your ticket a problem? Because there was a dust-up, obviously, between the Hillary Clinton supporters and the Obama campaign.
Well, look, I live with a lot of smart women. I think it's kind of demeaning to suggest that all women are going to vote for a woman just because she's a woman, even when she is diametrically opposed to everything Hillary stands for. I mean, I hear this talk about, is she going to pick up Hillary voters? Well, so far, I haven't heard one single policy position, one single position that she has in common with Hillary. So I just think, all folks are a little more discriminating than just merely whether or not it's the same sex or the same ethnicity or whatever. But we'll see. We'll see. The truth is, I don't know.
She's not only excited our base that you pointed out about, she's excited Americans all over this country. We've been campaigning together. The electricity has been incredible. And I'd like to say it's all because of a charisma injection on the part of John McCain, but it's not. They're excited about this reformer, this lifetime member of the NRA, the person, she was a point guard. She has, and I'm sure that the fact is she's kind of what Americans have been looking for.